Hey YouTube, I'm just Anthony. Welcome back. Path of Exile 2 Dawn of the Hunt reveal showcase just happened today from GGG, their big live stream, and they unveiled a ton of stuff. Like, I am so happy with everything they're doing. They're giving us so much more content. Honestly, a little bit more than I was expecting. Spoiler, no druid. Sorry for those that were really wanting the druid, but that's okay. We're getting just an absolute ton of other stuff and stuff that they did not even talk about yet. They're just leaving it open for us to find, which I love that too. When you already have a bunch of stuff ready to go and you're like, but there's still more. You'll see when the league launches. You're all like, okay, that's awesome. But anyways, I want to quickly cover everything that was announced, and I'll try to make it as quick as possible, even though it was a ton of stuff. And then I'm going to jump really quick into why there's also a big elephant in the room for some people. Let's start it. Alrighty, diving right into it, we have, of course, the new class coming out, the Huntress, and then we have 5 ascendancies, 2 for that Huntress and 3 ascendancies for existing classes. That Huntress is already going to be coming with Ritualist and the Amazon. The Ritualist has some pretty cool things. They can have up to 3 ring slots on their character. They can empower those rings to be more effective. Already crazy. We have the Amazon, which can target weak spots on bosses and enemies to do extra damage. The Amazon can convert accuracy to critical hit chance, and they're going to be getting elemental leech on their attacks, for their elemental attacks. That is just absolutely crazy. And then for the new ascendancies, we have Smith of Katava. They're going to be a warrior ascendancy. They're going to be able to imbue their weapons and then also craft their own body armor on them. That's going to be very interesting mechanic. I'd like to see what people are going to be doing with that. And then we have for the mercenary, the new tactician. This seems to be a utility based mercenary that also relies on minions or possibly group play in a group environment, but more so minions and possibly ballistas. So that should be interesting. And then we have what probably most people are excited about with the new witch ascendancy, the Lich. The Lich and the new Witch Ascendancy. They can empower jewels. They can have Unholy Might to give chaos damage to both themselves and their minions. And they're going to have a mastery over curses. So they're going to have ability to have extra curses, extra curse effects, exploding those curses. I think the Lich is actually going to be insane. And then coming with that new class and those new ascendancies are going to be at least 25 new skills. And a couple of those new skills that are really standing out is the much anticipated Raise Spectre. I know a lot of players are wanting the Raise Spectre. It looks like it's going to be so much fun to be finding these rare enemies with special modifiers on them, and that's a specific special type of enemy that you want to resurrect to create as your Spectre. So everybody's going to be able to find and get their own unique Spectres that are going to be for their character. And it's probably going to be a ton of players out there just discovering on the daily these brand new Spectres that have great synergy. The other skill gem that I want to talk about that they showed was the Summon Roa mount, which is a mount in the game that is a skill gem, but you summon a Roa and then you can jump on its back and ride it into combat. Now, the benefit of this is while you're shooting your weapon, you do not suffer from a movement speed penalty for shooting and attacking with your weapons. This is obviously going to be crazy from clearing the screen. I can already see now those lightning arrow dead eyes riding around on their Roa, clearing the map as fast as they can in the early league. You never know. It could be wild. Also to note, we're going to be getting 100 plus new support gems for everything existing already. That's insane. And then 100 plus new uniques are going to be introduced into the game along with this new update. These uniques are going to vary from new leveling uniques that you're going to find throughout the campaign in the early maps, all the way to new in-game uniques that are only going to be coming from the new Pinnacle content that they've added. Speaking of Pinnacle content, let's jump into that. Getting right on into the brand new league mechanic, we have the Asmarian Wisps. These wisps you're going to see right from the start of the game. You're going to get to the second zone and you're going to encounter your first wisp with a NPC that is going to give you a little backstory, most likely. The way these wisps work is you want to follow them through the map. They're going to empower the enemies they go through until they find a rare enemy. And when they find a rare enemy, they're going to attach themselves to that rare enemy and buff it. You then got to just simply kill that enemy and you're going to get all the extra loot from that enemy, little loot explosion, hopefully. But there's going to be new crafting items dropping from this new league. We're going to have socketed talismans, which are going to be dropping from these enemies you kill, which can be socketed into specific pieces of gear to give you special effects. And then there's going to be different types of wisps. You're going to have regular wisps that are just going to modify enemies to maybe have additional health, more crit chance, more crit multi, all kinds of things. But then you're going to have sacred wisps. If you're lucky enough to get a sacred wisp in your map, they can completely change your map. Any sacred wisp that passes through a normal mob will change it to a magic mob, and then if the sacred wisp were to travel through magic mobs, it's going to turn them into rare mobs, and then the sacred wisp, when they hit a rare mob, is going to turn that rare mob, you probably guessed it already, into a boss right there in the middle of any map, and it's going to just be any boss can just spawn right there off of that wisp. So that's going to add some crazy variety to the game. I think it's awesome. Jumping right into it, they've actually announced some new maps as well on top of the Asmarian Wisps. One of those new maps is the Asmarian Ranges, which is a map that's going to have mini wisps throughout the map. So you're going to be able to do this mechanic several times in one map. They also have other new special maps that are coming out. We have the Monolith map, which you go around and you're going to activate a bunch of pillars. After you do so, you're going to be able to spawn bosses on repeat in the center of the map. So you're going to go there, you kill a boss, you kill another boss, you kill another bosses. You just keep killing bosses, and I believe they said up to 10 times you can kill bosses in this map. That's going to be awesome for waystone sustainability and of course just loot, but I'm looking at it more as a early game waystone sustain. You're going to get waystone drops from all those bosses. Fractured Lake is going to be another map coming. That's going to be similar to the Calandra League in Path of Exile 1, for those who know. But the Fractured Lake, when you go through the lake, it's going to protrude the areas from the water. And anytime you encounter a rare enemy, it's going to be duplicated with a mirror copy of the self. After you complete the Fractured Lake and get to the end, you're going to get to a loot item, a mirror, that's going to give you a jewelry base. And this jewelry base will allow you to have more suffixes or more prefixes. Another map they talked about was the Silent Cave. The Silent Cave is going to be crazy as far as essences. It's going to be having one of the new kind of in-game pinnacles, kind of like bosses, but it's kind of a you pick your own fate, your destiny. You're going to have a bunch of small essence monsters around a kind of arena in a cave. And as you interact with those essence monsters and release them, you're going to buff the unique boss monster that's in the center of the arena. So it's your choice how strong you want to make this boss enemy in the center of the arena. If you add too many essence modifiers, you're just going to get one shot. So be careful. Don't overdo it. Just put a few essences on there to start, go from there, and then kind of test your character as you go. Most likely, try to go for the essences that you personally want to use or sell well on the market. That would be my recommendation. The next big league content to drop that they talk about was Rogue Exiles. Rogue Exiles are not going to be the same like they are in PoE 1, and I love the direction they're taking the Rogue Exiles. The Rogue Exiles, when you fight them, they're going to have different variants of these Rogue Exiles with different gear, and when you kill a Rogue Exile, they drop their entire gear set that they were wearing. If they had unique items, rare items, magic items, everything that they were wearing drops to the ground after you kill them. That includes all the uniques that are wearing, and under their name, you will be able to see what uniques they are currently equipped with to try to give you an understanding of what their capabilities are if you think you have time enough to read what's under their names while they're trying to kill you. I don't think you're going to have that much time. Jumping right into the next thing, they introduced new strong boxes and unique strong boxes with new unique events that are going to happen. One of them seems to be like you can open it multiple times to kill the rare enemy that comes out multiple times, as many times as the box lets you, which is going to be great for just a rare enemy farm. You just click on that box over and over. So that's great. And then they have a few more that they haven't even talked about, didn't release. They said we're just going to have to figure it out on our own. So that's awesome. Moving on to the end game, there was a lot of end game changes. One of the biggest ones that stood out to me was the new corruption mechanic on the map when an area of the map is corrupted. Now, these new corruption areas are also going to be tied to the passive skill tree. So this is how you're going to get your Atlas skill points. You no longer have to do, 8 of these maps, 8 of these maps, 8 of these maps, or 10 of these maps, however many it was in the initial game to get your Atlas skill points. That's not how it's going to be anywhere. Now we have to clear these corruption like citadels to get our new Atlas skill points. But that is not all. These new corrupted areas, when you clear the infestation in the middle, it will then turn all the surrounded corrupted maps that you have not finished yet into cleansed maps. And these new cleansed maps are going to be insane. The reason they're going to be insane is they have new monster types, new bosses that are going to be on them, but most importantly, they're going to be dropping fracturing orbs. Now, fracturing orbs lets you put a fracture on an item, and that means that that fracture modifier on that item can under no circumstances be removed from the item. It will always be on that item, which will just give you so much more crafting freedom. It's going to be crazy. And just a touch note about crafting on that far, they also announced that the rituals, there's going to be way more omens in rituals, and you should see at least one omen in every ritual, every single time, guaranteed. So that is amazing. Moving right on, we have tower buffs. So the towers have been reduced on the Atlas map. You're only going to see about a third of the total towers. They're going to cover more area, more range on the map. So less towers, we don't have to do them as often. And they significantly improved the juicing power of the tower and what you can do with them. You're going to be able to slot in 3 tablets in a single tower to just absolutely juice an entire large area around it. And the towers themselves are going to have new bosses that are going to be on them. With all the extra content in that area can also spawn on that tower. So that is just amazing. Moving on to the Waystone changes that they have coming. We're going to have multiple map attempts now if you die, dependent on how hard the map is, the Waystone is. So you no longer are just a one and done death. The map is gone. You don't have to worry about that anymore. If you get to maps at the start of a new league and you're just tossing in white maps, or you're just tossing in magic waystones, I keep calling them maps, waystones, you're going to have more than one portal. So therefore you don't have to worry about waystone sustainability. Unless you're just dying way too much, you should be able to progress through the in-game Atlas a lot easier without running out of waystones and worrying about dying. Speaking of which, they said that waystones can no longer drop lower than the map level you're doing. So if you're doing a tier 5, you cannot have lower than a tier 5 drop in that map. And every time you kill a boss in a specific tier map, they are guaranteed to drop a map 1 tier higher. So all you have to do to progress with your maps is constantly clear boss nodes or boss maps on the Atlas, and they're going to give you that next tier higher map that you need to go to. And when you clear that map, you're going to get that tier map drops from the enemies. absolutely insane. Another huge upgrade is you are no longer going to lose XP when you fight pinnacle bosses. So if you're, pretty high level, you got enough to go have an audience with the king, but you're like, oh man, I don't want to die and lose the XP I earned. You don't even have to worry about it. If you died to a pinnacle, no experience loss. Huge. That's going to be awesome for quality of life. All uniques drop from any difficulty pinnacle boss. So a pinnacle boss does not have to have a certain difficulty setting to drop their uniques. The entire unique pool for pinnacle bosses has been unlocked. Now they still have a heavy weighting. So if you're, fighting the pinnacle boss at their easiest variant, it's still going to be heavily weighted against you that you're going to get that really great drop. But it can still happen. It's not zero, which is gonna be awesome for RNG and new clips and maybe even league start luck. We have new unique tablets that are coming that you can put in towers. Some of these tablets, they already showcased, you can put a tablet in a tower and it'll let you jump a large distance and skip a bunch of maps. So if you don't want to do a certain biome, you could just jump right on over it. They expanded the Atlas, which is phenomenal. We have recombinators on expeditions. Now, I didn't even want to talk about this one because I myself have never had a good time with recombinators, but basically you can put 2 items inside of a machine and you combinate them into one, and you're hoping to get the best of each of those items onto one item. Personally, that never works, but I wish everybody luck with that. And then new content, of course, is going to be added to a lot of the existing leagues on the Atlas tree. So they showed the Atlas tree just to have a ton of new nodes, and the Atlas tree looks like it was reworked a little bit. And I think for some of the existing stuff like essences, we're going to have up to 100% guaranteed chance to get those on our map. So then every single map you do is going to have an essence on it, which is just going to incentivize crafting even more. Whew. Well then, that was a lot. I did not want to do a bunch of takes for that. We went through it as fast as I could. But that being said, and as hype as all of that information is, I'm still going to say that we do not have any patch notes. And if you watched the interview with Ziggy D and the developers after this was over, you would see that they were mentioning about heavy nerfs incoming, like a wrecking ball. They already said that, the tandem using of heralds, say goodbye to that. A lot of things are going to get hit and pretty hard. So get ready, everybody. Don't worry, this is a good thing. Their vision is not for you to just be one-shotting every single pinnacle boss at their hardest difficulty in 1 second when your character hasn't even had a lot of investment. You just put on one unique and all of a sudden you're one-shotting bosses. Now, that being said, with over 100 new uniques and new ascendancies and a lot of other interactions, we're still going to be doing that. Don't worry, we're going to be, as a community, one-shotting bosses for a long time to come. So even though they're going to nerf tons of stuff into the ground, it just opens the door for tons of new builds and to figure out what else works with the crazy new uniques that they're going to be dropping in. Alrighty, everybody. I got to take a break because this just took everything out of me with this big reveal today. It was actually more than I thought it was going to be. So I'm just, my excitement level is through the darn roof. I cannot tell you. April 4th cannot come fast enough. Hopefully those patch notes will release soon so we can see if our specific builds are nerfed. Oh, I hope our Blood Mage got buffed and not nerfed. Oh, pray that the Blood Mage got buffed and not nerfed. Same with the Chayula. Let's get some Chayula love. Some Blood Mage love. Come on, man. Anyways, guys, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow with some more content. But until then, stay safe and have a great day. Later.